When it comes to tablets, the Android community doesn't really have anything that can go up against Apple's iPads. As with phones, Samsung has come to the rescue. The new Galaxy Tab S2 is the Android community's answer to Apple's iPad. Or is it? The new Galaxy Tab S2 has very similar and surprisingly in some areas worse specs than the old Tab S. The processor is a new generation of the Exynos found in the Tab S. Both have the same 3GB of RAM, similar 32GB storage capacities with 128GB expansion by microSD, same 8MP rear camera, but without a flash on the S2, an upgrade to stereo speakers on the Tab S2 from the mono speaker from the previous generation, and surprisingly, a smaller battery. So as you can see, only the processor and speakers have experienced physical upgrades, and the rest are either the same or downgrades, but don't judge a book by its cover. The Exynos processor in the Tab S2 is an optical CPU, with 4 clocked at 1.3GHz for lighter loads and better battery efficiency, and the other 4 at 1.9GHz for more demanding tasks. As I mentioned before, it comes equipped with 3GB of RAM, 32GB of internal storage, and 128GB of expansion via microSD. There is also a non-user replaceable 5870mAh battery, which I'll talk about later. When it comes to performance, despite having pretty much the same specs as the Tab S, the Tab S2 is snappy and really nice and fluid to use, as good as the iPad Air 2, so clearly Samsung has closed the gap. Graphical performance is excellent, all of the latest and greatest games on the Play Store run really smoothly on it, and many take advantage of its high-res Super AMOLED display. Like with media consumption, games and applications make better use of the new 4:3 aspect ratio rather than the previous 16:10. As I just mentioned, the thing that you will notice about the new Tab S2 compared to the previous generation is the new 4:3 aspect ratio as opposed to the old 16:10. 4:3 aspect ratio, that rings a bell, doesn't it? Is it by any chance the same as the iPad? Well, if you said yes, you've hit the nail on the head. Well, I mean, I did make it pretty obvious. Well, this is because Samsung is trying to make the Tab S2 compete even more directly with the iPad. I did prefer the 16:10 aspect ratio of the Tab S 8.4, but for web browsing and reading, the 4:3 aspect ratio is definitely better. This isn't the only thing Samsung is trying to make its S2 tablets compete against the iPad in. The Tab S2 9.7 is thinner than the already insanely thin iPad Air 2, at just 5.6mm. To give you an idea of the size of the Tab S2, here it is compared to 4 apples. It is light as well at 392 grams, conveniently roughly equal to 4 apples, again. The Tab S2 is a very portable and comfortable device, which won't need effort to take with you day to day. This featherweight package is held in an aluminium bezel with a sturdy plastic back. This is a big upgrade from the full plastic Tab S, and it feels great in the hands. How it feels and how it looks, however, is a different matter altogether. From the sides, nothing special. On the back, there's a camera bump, and I hate those. Although practical, I've never liked the accessory pins on the back of Samsung's tablets, but this is all a matter of opinion. One thing I really do have a problem with is the front of the tablet. I don't know what it is, but it's the way Samsung has designed the bezel to meet the screen. It makes it look really cheap. But then again, that's just me. With videos, the vivid colours that the Super AMOLED display produces makes everything much more enjoyable, especially if you're watching cartoons or sci-fi movies. Watching videos offline, you should get about 11 hours of playback, which is pretty good and should get you through most plane journeys. If you aren't using headphones, the stereo speakers on this tablet will get you through whatever media you're consuming. It gives out an impressive volume of around 96 decibels. It's enough to fill a small room with clearly audible sound, but obviously if you want to play music, I would still recommend you use a Bluetooth speaker. Sound quality is very good, but not amazing, and will get slightly distorted at high volumes. In general, I'm getting around 7 to 8 hours of moderate use with the built-in 5870mAh battery, and this includes browsing, using social networks, watching some video and playing some games. This is quite an impressive figure, and you can expect to only need to charge it once every 2 days, or maybe even 3 to 4 days if you only use it to surf the web a bit every day. Although it is still 1 to 2 hours short of the iPad's 10-hour battery life, but it's getting there. Unlike Samsung's latest phones, which all have fast charging, the Tab S2 doesn't, and it takes around 4 to 5 hours to charge from empty, which is a bit longer than other tablets, but this shouldn't be a massive issue for most people, and it definitely hasn't been for me. Looking at the rear-facing camera on the Tab S2, it is an 8MP sensor with no flash. Images are good, not stunning clarity or amazing colour reproduction. You could use it to take photos on a holiday, but don't use it to take photos at a wedding. I personally would object to that, but if you choose to do so, forever hold your peace. Nothing special, but not bad. I mean, who cares about the camera on a tablet? I don't take selfies, so I don't care about the 2.1 megapixel front camera either, which can take good looking selfies. However, one impressive thing which the Tab S2's rear camera can do, and is maybe of interest to some of you, is that it can shoot good looking 4K video. The clarity of the 4K video is fantastic, although colour can be slightly overexposed and washed out. Don't forget that there is no flash, so there won't be any night video shooting. The Tab S2 comes in 3 flavours and 2 sizes, and a model with the option of LTE connectivity. The 3 flavours being white, black and gold, although this review is of the 9.7-inch LTE version, all share exactly the same specs. The 8-inch model will have a slightly higher pixel density for obvious reasons. The 9.7-inch model starts at £399 and works its way up to £449 for the LTE version. The 8-inch model starts at £319 for the Wi-Fi only version and £369 for the LTE version. The Tab S2 is consistently over £100 cheaper than its Apple counterparts for an equal offering. If you're an Android freak, then the Tab S2 is the tablet to get. If you don't have a strong opinion either way, the Tab S2 is the Android option to an iPad if you're after an OS with more versatility. It's been Sunny at TechRanger.Net. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more of the latest tech.